Yay Networks.
I see why people drink. I don't drink, but I see why people drink.
Just kind of take the edge off a little bit.
And my thing was shopping. Like, that's how I dealt. But now I'm dealing with my pain.
Yeah.
And feeling overwhelmed and not running to vices.
Yeah, and talking about dealing with pain. Hey, everybody, this is Cornelius.
Are we recording?
And Heather. Yeah, we're here. Cornelius and Heather, welcome to another episode of This Is Life with Heather and Cornelius. Finally, Heather is back. So, hey, Miss Heather, how are you?
How much did they hear of our conversation?
They heard the whole thing. It's completely fine. It's just normal.
No, but seriously, like, think about it. When people get overwhelmed, if they don't know how to process their pain, they're going to go to vices like alcohol, shopping. Shopping was mine. Mine was like Amazon. But I've learned, like, that doesn't fix anything. Instead, I need to look at my schedule and realize I'm overwhelming myself.
Yep. So, okay, other side of that, how are you doing? You hadn't been here in about 4 weeks.
I know, it's great.
God. Well, I was doing well earlier today until somebody tried to take my parking spot.
She tried to take your parking spot.
She definitely tried to take my parking spot. Yeah. And I definitely rolled the window down and said, hey.
That's me.
I was about to that was my parking spot. And she rolled her eyes at me. But I would have gave it away at any other time. But this Black History Month.
I said, she looked at you and I said, she ain't going to do it on Black History Month.
Not Black History Month.
Do it.
Not Black History Month. This Black History Month. It's it. No, no.
What would Jesus do?
Jesus didn't have a car.
But what do he do with his donkey?
I don't know. I don't deal with what ifs. I don't know what he would have done. And number two, I ain't Jesus.
All right. All right. Okay.
Jesus had no car.
We're talking about not feeling like you're enough.
Parking his donkey. Yes. Yes. Yeah, when you feel like you're never enough.
You want to go first?
You want to kind of give them a little bit of where this came from. Not any details or anything, but just kind of like a general area of where this comes from.
I think people get hurt by people that are Christians, right? And they might have an expectation, even if they're not Christian, right? They have an expectation that somebody is supposed to love them. Yeah. And maybe a parent, right? And make them feel like they're enough, and make them feel like they're valued. And if they are not getting that, right? For example, that'd be like, this is just example purposes, but like, Taylor's my sweet girl. What if I'm helping everybody else and everybody's saying how much I'm helping them, but I'm ignoring Taylor? Yeah. And I don't have time for you and I'm too busy. And it's like she's going to grow up thinking everybody else is more important. And it's going to plant a seed in her saying that I'm not enough because my mom was too busy helping everybody else. I wasn't enough. I wasn't valued.
Yeah. I like to call it the system.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what it is. I feel like it's the system that is this. It's just not. It's not authentic. It's not real. It is a curation, or it's helping to curate the false self and false identity in people. Mm-hmm. Is used to help build, ego-based operations that function more on personality and persona and peacocking than actual change with people. Yeah. So it's very difficult because so many people are living between like this dichotomy of, okay, well, God loves me, and we talk about the unconditional love of God, but then we're confronted by the very real conditional love of humans. Yeah. And people do have this expectation, and in which, you kind of really should have some level of it that says this person who at least gave birth to me, would love me unconditionally. Yeah. Because it hurts even more when that person stands on the stage and talks about love and talks about how Jesus loves you. No matter what you did, you can always come to him. But then you can't go back home. I had a guy. He is agnostic. He's a pastor's son, and he shared with me. He said, "How is it?" He said, "How am I supposed to believe in a faith that's supposed to be built on love when that same faith based on religion has caused so many wars built on hatred?" And then he said, I asked him about going to church, and he said, well, how am I supposed to just go to church somewhere when my own father kicked me out of his? Yeah. And I thought, man, like where have we lost it?
Yeah. I think the crazy thing is those parents are doing the best that they can. And sometimes their best is exactly what it is. It's almost like we have to release the older generation from any expectations that we have towards them, because they're doing the best that they know how. And sometimes their best for you is not enough. And I feel like we have all these expectations and projections of how we think things should be instead of accepting like where we are, right? Like I've learned, and I struggled with this before, like that fantasy world. I have an idea of how I want things to be, but the reality is this is where I am right now. And the space between here and fantasy is disappointment. You know, over and over again, I'll be disappointed if I have all these expectations of how I thought it was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And I'm constantly getting burned by putting all these expectations out there. I've learned this is what it is. And what I'm going to do is do better for this next generation. Like I might not love the way, you know, my father's passed, but you're the one that adopted me, but he's passed and I'm grown. I need to heal from, you know, my daddy issues, but now I can be a great mother to my 3 children, you know?
I do. I get it. And I actually agree with you. I'm going to tell you why I believe that some of that is problematic. It is because we come out of the womb with a sense of dependency.
Yeah.
Our children have a sense of dependency. And even the way that God created and curated relationship and created beings, he created us for a relationship. Mm-hmm. That's the reason why, you know, the Bible tells, you know, older women teach the young women, mm-hmm. older men teach the younger men. That's the reason why he gave children into he puts children in the households of mothers and fathers to be able to be raised in the truth and admonition of the Lord. There's a sense of dependency that we do have. And, you know, while I do agree with you that we have to release the older generation from their, you know, from the expectation of loving us or being there for us or anything else, while we have to do that, us having to do that right now is what we have to do to cope, but it should not be the norm.
I mean, it shouldn't be, but we can't change people.
We can't change people. We can't. But my point here is that it should not be the norm. And that's what's wrong with our society now.
Because it leaves this imprint on us that says I'm not enough. I'm not valued. And it's almost like we're reproducing in our children. And the thing is, you might have got that from your parents, right? And now you might be subconsciously treating your children like that. You know, nothing they do is good enough, right? So I do feel like it's this cycle, and it's got to be broken.
It has to be broken. And I think one of the reasons why is because we have not grown beyond this reptilian, you know, mentality. I mean, just a very low level thinking where it's just all about us and it's all about achievement. It's all about those things. And so we don't ever get to that place of really doing real soul work. Like, honestly, I look around at, you know, some of our, you know, quote unquote elders, and I think to myself, like, there's none that I would want to replicate. That I would want to be. Yeah. I mean, even though, you know, you look at some, they have money and they have, you know, this and have that, but I think to myself, how many of them have taken the time to do their own real soul work, you know, so that they can be healthy enough to really leave something behind for the generations that are to come. We got a generation of millennials right now that are in the thicket of raising children mostly. Yeah. And they're lost, confused, hurt, broken. They don't feel like they're enough. They feel rejected. They feel disowned. They feel outcasted. And I mean, what are they supposed to do? Yeah.
I mean, again, I think the thing that's helped me just with dealing with my own is releasing them from having any expectations. And you have no choice, because I feel like you're going to live in disappointment your whole life if you continue to put it out there that you expect a father to be a father, a mother to be a mother, right? So what helps me is just to release them from anything, forgive them, and then do my own inner healing, my own inner work with the Lord, so I can be a good parent to my babies.
Yeah, I do want to say something about that, especially like doing our own inner work and that kind of stuff. But before I do that, I do want to take a quick break. But today we are very excited because our podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp.
Let's go.
And give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/Lindsey's LINDSEYS and get on your way to being your best self. Now, one of the things that I absolutely love about BetterHelp is that it is an all-inclusive place for online therapy.
Yeah.
People need help. I mean, we're talking right now about not feeling like you're enough. Those are real emotions that people feel.
Real, man.
And you need somebody with whom you can talk to really add words to your pain.
Yeah, I agree. We have sent so many people to BetterHelp, and it's been such a blessing. The fact that you can connect with somebody online right away. You can get matched with them, which is amazing. You don't have to get in a car and drive. I remember one time I went to a therapist appointment. It was my first time meeting her. I was sitting outside and this girl came up to me because it was like a big office building. She's like, "Oh my gosh, Heather Lindsey, can I have a picture?" And I was just like, "Yeah." And I'm just like, then my therapist walks out, "You ready for our appointment?" And I was like, "Yeah." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'm ready.
I think that just goes to show like there's something about the privacy of your own home to be able to connect with somebody that can help walk you through what you're facing and what you're going through.
Yeah. So if you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, flexible, affordable, and entirely online. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. So if you don't like a therapist you get, don't worry about it. Just change it out. If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/Lindsey's LINDSEYS today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Lindsey's, HELP, BetterHelp, HELP.com/Lindsey's LINDSEYS.
I love it.
So it's something that you mentioned, which, babe, again, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
It's something that you mentioned about, releasing them and doing your own inner work. One of the things that I have realized in doing my own soul work is that it is far more difficult to do the inner work when you have a lot of holes or when you have a lot of gaps, which is why I think that we have to adapt now to release them, to not be able to fill in those gaps. But if only we could recognize that if I'm talking to those individuals who may have an opportunity to maybe get some of those gaps filled because maybe your parents are alive or whatever that is, but it is a lot easier to get the healing that you need when you can actually, speak to some of those people and fill in some of those gaps that are there. Because, I mean, you and I, we've had gaps.
Yeah.
That we've had to, but once we got answers, once we got that missing piece, there it was like, oh, that began to make sense. And we were able to then identify our roots and then move on from there.
I guess I have this thing where I'm just able to block stuff out.
Baby.
I am. No, babe, listen, I'm not saying this is totally healthy, but what I'm saying is I feel like if I know you're not in my life or not supposed to be in my life, I will forget you exist. Babe, I do. And it's real in my heart. You can't tell me how my heart feels, babe, and how it's real to me.
I'll tell you how your heart feels. I've been married to you for almost 13 years.
But I'm saying I know myself. And
okay.
I'll be like,
all right.
Like one of my girls brought up somebody. I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about her. You know what I mean? And it's not a thing where it's like I'm being mean and I'm spiteful and I'm hurtful. I'm just like out of sight, out of mind. I'm on a mission. I'm moving forward. I don't have time to deal with the past. It is what it is. We got to move forward. And I'm still healing. I'm still working through my progress. But at the same time, I just feel differently when it comes to that.
And it's okay that you feel differently. But like you said, that's not healthy.
Well, I said maybe it couldn't, but to me it is. I'm good. Like I really feel like I'm good.
Okay, but here's the thing. In that type of situation, there's no way you can be because
if I've forgiven and released somebody, I meant it in my heart.
This is not okay. Listen, when you say something like, okay, well, I just kind of forget about them and move on and stuff like that. It's one thing to just forget about somebody, move on, and just do all those things. But if you're out there, you're listening, and you're somebody who just kind of, well, I just kind of move people out because I know you're supposed to be in my life and stuff like that, but you don't reconcile. I'm talking, if you're talking about, okay, I've reconciled it in my heart with this situation and this person, that's fine. Well, that's cool. But that's not how I heard it. I'm talking about for the people who are listening and who are like, yep, I'm the same way. What they're doing is they're just creating more of an avoidant type of personality. Yeah. And that's all they're doing. They're just avoiding the situation. Well, that person's gone because that person was mean to me. So I don't have to worry about that person anymore. Out of sight, out of mind.
You've known that before. Like I've reached out to people like, it feels weird. Something's off. Something's not right. I'm going to try. And then when you keep hitting them boundaries, or you keep acting weird, or you keep acting silent, I'm good. Like I don't need nobody unhealthy and toxic like that in my life. Like I don't like being friends with opportunists. I don't like because my thing is this, like if I'm guarding my heart and I'm working through my own rejection trauma, my own past, like I don't have time to be around people who constantly remind me of my past trauma and my hurt and my pain.
And I get that. I get that. But at the same time, I'm saying that our healing ain't based on their response. I'm talking about the reconciliation inside of our heart that is not just avoidance. Yeah. Because I feel like people can hear that and easily assume that's right. Yeah, that's right. I just kind of avoid the situation. They're not rectifying anything. Yeah.
I do feel like I deal with it head on, and then I need one good time to deal with it. I'm done. I'm good. Let's move on.
Yeah, I mean that's not me.
Yeah,
because like I'll think about it, and you know me. I mean, you've been around me long enough where I'll be like, deuces. Yeah. But I've learned something about me that I still have those unreconciled relationships. That although I don't want to have anything to do with you, I can still have those unreconciled relationships. I have to reconcile that in my heart. Because although that person, I'm not worried about that person, I'm not bothered by that person. It's still something that I have to look in my own soul work and say, I still have to reconcile this. Like I have to reconcile stuff like with my stepfather. I have to reconcile stuff, with my auntie who said this. I got to reconcile something with my great aunt. Like I still have to reconcile stuff that one of my English teachers said to me. It's cool that I'm not there anymore and I don't see him anymore, but I just wanted to bring that up for the people who are listening so that they won't be avoidant.
I don't feel like I'm being avoidant, babe.
I wasn't talking about you.
Yeah.
I said that's how it came. And if I heard it a certain way, if somebody else could have heard it another way.
I understand.
Then I didn't want them to say, you know what, that's right. And I'm just going to avoid the situation. We all have to do our soul work.
Of course.
Our own individual soul work.
Yeah.
And doing soul work is not avoiding soul work.
Yeah.
It is confronting the trauma and not continuing to just push it back under the rug and act like it doesn't exist and God's going to take care of it and I'm good, I'm great. Because the issue is, I know that I'm not talking about you, but 90% of people who are like, oh, I'm good.
But I feel like there's another side of people that unpack and live there and they live their whole life of victim mentality. I'm not saying that you are, but they live in the past. They live in what mama said. They live in the identity that was spoken over them, and they can't break free from those chains to like move forward. Like they live in the past of the hurt.
Yeah, that's why I say you need to reconcile.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So we go back, we reconcile, and let's move forward. That's how I look at it. Like
that's what I just said.
Right.
But I'm not telling people to go back and live there.
Yeah.
But I am telling people you need to go back and visit there.
Yeah.
You need to go back there and visit. Like I know it's difficult. I know it's hard, but you still need to go back there and visit and realize this is what happened. Like, when you have a situation, like you're the pastor's son, you still need to go back and deal with the emotions of feeling abandoned, of feeling discarded, of feeling left out.
But what happens when they go back to his father and his father still stands firm on everything?
And that's completely fine because my healing is not based on your response.
So what was the point of going back?
I listen, if it's some situations, I'm not telling you to go back to the father, but I'm telling you to go back to the hurt, the trauma that's in your heart.
Yeah.
Like one thing that I like about AA is that, one of the things about AA, when it gets to the point of, reconciling situations, relationships that you've broken, the idea is only to do it when it is safe for you and the other person.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so it takes wisdom to know. I'm not telling the people to say, hey, you need to go back and talk to your mom or go back and talk to your daddy or something like that. I'm saying you need to get with someone or do something so that you can at least travel back there and deal with that trauma that's in your soul. Because if not, just like you said in the very beginning, you're gonna live your life in anxiety. You're gonna live your life coping with other vices and doing other things, and then you just become avoidant.
Yeah, no, that's
and you're
real.
not doing anything.
Yeah, that's real. And you still feel like you're not enough.
You still feel like you're not enough.
And it's like this circle of just looking and being frustrated and being mad. It's like you've got to break out of that.
You got to break out of it, but you gotta do the work, and you got to reconcile. You got to reconcile that in your heart.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think a lot of people just aren't taking the time to really just like reconcile the peace that's in their heart. And it's hard, especially when you're around the system. You know, that's the church system. When you're around the system that kind of feeds religion and feeds false self and feeds, it's just like all the stuff, all the crap, all the customs and all the expectations that you have to follow for you to believe that God loves you. And it's all just conditional based upon what man thinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we got to do something. We have to do something about it. It seemed like you shut down. You okay?
I'm good, baby. No, I'm good.
Oh.
We were just saying the same thing. Just different ways. We just have different perspectives and interpretations of what was said. Like, I just process differently than you do, and it's okay.
Okay.
I'm still right, though.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break on that. Now, you want to go ahead, baby?
Now, what's the first thing y'all do when you wake up in the morning, right? Is it checking on your credit score? Yeah, I don't think so. Now, at Chime, that's exactly what they do. With their secured Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card, you can start to build your credit with your own money. Y'all, now I know this because my credit score, it used to be about 500 right out of college, but now I'm proud to say we're back in the 800s. Look at God. Now Chime reports your payments to your credit bureaus to help you build credit over time. Their members see an increase of 30 points on average. That's amazing. All of this with no annual fees, large security deposits, or credit checks apply.
So start your credit journey with Chime. Sign up takes only 2 minutes and doesn't affect your credit score. Get started at chime.com/LWTL. That's chime.com/LWTL. So if y'all trying to get that credit up, you want to buy that car, buy that house, buy whatever you're trying to buy, you need to go on and get with Chime right now, chime.com/LWTL. The Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card is issued by Stride Bank N.A. pursuant to a license from Visa USA Chime checking account and $200 qualifying direct deposit required to apply for the secured Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card. Regular on-time payment history can have a positive impact on your credit score. Impact 2 score may vary, and some users' scores may not improve. Out-of-network ATM withdrawal fees may apply except at MoneyPass ATMs in a 7-Eleven or any Allpoint or Visa Plus Alliance ATM.
All right. But no, babe, I think we're having a great conversation because I feel like
I just wanted to see because it felt like your energy said, wee.
No, that's just because I've had a crazy day and I'm like going nonstop. It's not you, babe.
I'm there too. I was up at 4 a.m. this morning and headed over to the gym house.
Up at 4 too because now I wake up all light now. Like I wake up when you wake up. Like if you get up, I wake up immediately.
Look at God.
No, it's not fun.
Because that wasn't the case. Because when you was waking up at 4 and I wanted to go to sleep, I would keep my eyes closed because I didn't want the kids to think I was woke.
So, but nonetheless, I do feel like, so many people, you look around and you're seeing such a different generation growing up, right? So much frustration, so much anxiety, so much stress. And I feel like we're literally passing down generational curses like over and over and over again. And I give me some advice here. How would somebody break that generational curse? You say we have to reconcile in our heart, but what does that mean?
It means you have to do soul work. And for a lot of people, let me do this. For a lot of people, soul work won't start for you until you come to the end of yourself and the end of your resources. I hate to say that.
It's real.
But because the first half of your life is egocentric. It's all built around ego.
Yeah.
It's all built around you. That's how we get to avoidant type of personalities. We start pushing people away because we start thinking about our own friendships, our own relationships. We start thinking about what we want to do, how we want to be great, how we want to live, and how we want to have money and do all these things. It's all based around ego.
Yeah.
And then you come to the end of yourself, and you come to the end of your resources, and you quickly determine, oh man, it's not about me. That life is so much bigger than me. And because life is so much bigger than me, then it needs to be focused. It needs to be focused elsewhere. And it's usually in a very low point of your life.
Yeah.
I heard this the other day, and it was God's mercy is in the fall. And that same mercy is in the recovery. But we don't really understand the mercy until we have the fall. And it's not until you come to the end of yourself, end of your resources, that you start to slow down.
Yeah.
And do the soul work. I think the problem with our older generation is that they never slowed down long enough to do the soul work.
Yeah.
Because they're still striving for something. I mean, look at all the major preachers, the big preachers nowadays. They're speeding up. They're going faster. And it's like, dude, you're at the closing end of your life.
Yeah.
At this point,
Ain't you tired?
Yeah, but at this point, your best work would be actually pouring the resources you have into those who are coming up. But that's not what's happening. So it's like we're not doing the soul work, and people aren't slowing down long enough to do it. So you have to come to the end of yourself. That's the place where you're going to actually slow down. And then you have to go through the serious process of processing that crap.
Yeah.
Processing all that trauma.
Yep.
Because people aren't taking the time anymore to do that, babe.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that is very, very troubling. We got to do something about it. I mean, what do you think?
I think first, not putting Band-Aids over the pain.
Yeah.
Not just like pushing it away. It's there. You got to deal with it. The wound's getting bigger, right? So for me, therapy, and I always say Living Waters, that's a great resource ministry. They're awesome. But I'm really good at gathering a lot of information. I'm really good at getting it all, right? But my issue for a long time was application. Like, instead of just buying a new book every week, why don't I actually read one and apply what's in the book before I move forward, right? Mm-hmm. Because as soon as I realize I have an issue, I'll get all the books on it. I'll get all the stuff. I'll listen to all the sermons. But then it comes to the point where I'm like, all right, Heather, you need to start applying. So when those crazy thoughts come in, you need to capture them and speak to them. Don't just let anxiety run all over your life anymore. So it's just like applying what I know to be true, working out, eating healthy. I feel like those different things, taking breaks, resting. Like, I love the scripture in Psalms where God leads us beside still waters. He's not leading us beside the ocean where it's like wild waves are crashing us and beating us up. Like, he wants us to rest in him. And I feel like I find healing when I just learn to rest in him and trust him and surrender how I think things should have been and surrender the idea. Because I feel like the grass is always greener on the other side, right? In our head, it's always greener if we had this or if we had that. But I'm learning in this season just contentment in the Lord. Like, he's enough for me, and that's enough. And I'm satisfied with that.
Yeah, I ain't satisfied with that. I'm glad you're satisfied with it. I ain't satisfied with that. I'm getting to that place of wanting to believe that that's enough, and contentment and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like I do have a lot more soul work to do, and a lot more places to just kind of work on. I wish I could just say, man, it's just contentment in the Lord and just being very content on that. But I realize how much of my previous life was so built on ego.
Yeah.
And so I'm having to dismantle and deconstruct all of that ideology.
Yeah, that's real.
So that I can get to a place where I can say, you know what? I actually believe in this whole contentment thing. And I think that one of the things that's helped me the most is recognizing that I'm human. I'm not focused on the performance anymore. I'm not focused on, I got to do this, or I'm not doing that, or now I'm reading the books because I actually like the information that's in them. I don't read them because I want to be like, well, what do I need to do next to get healthy? It's like I'm cool with letting Psalm 23 be the course for my life. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still water. So hey, I'm going to lay down over here. I don't know why the heck I'm laying
Restores
down.
my soul. Come on.
I'm gonna lay down here. I'm gonna go by the still waters, and I'm gonna let him do the restoration, and believe that he can do that. So,
amen. I love it. All right. Well, we love y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
Yep.